So I just watched The Bride, exclamation mark, and it made me compelled to give a few thoughts on it because I feel like it's the type of movie that we, or at least I've been asking for in theaters for a while, but they don't come out very often. And then I was there in the cinema and I was the only one. I was like, uh-oh. Because my thought is that's probably the case everywhere or in most places right now. And I think it's definitely worth the price of admission to watch. I genuinely enjoyed it. From right off the bat, you can see, if you're used to watching Netflix movies and movies on streaming, you can notice that a lot of the movies look the same nowadays. They have the same colors and contrast and shots. They look so similar. And this one, right off the bat, looks different. It looks, oh yeah, this is a movie. It has its own coloring and lighting, and this is how movies should be. They should stand out in a way where you should see kind of a color palette and lighting scheme and have some familiarity to, oh yeah, that makes me think of The Dark Knight, for example. This makes me think about whatever. And so right in the beginning, I felt that here and I appreciated that. I was immediately hooked in. And then you had Jessie Buckley. I think her name is the main actress. She's incredible. She's acting alongside Christian Bale, who, of course, because I've seen more of his movies, and I'm thinking of him as an all-time great. But every scene that she's in, she's really crushing it, and it made me thinking during the movie. It got me thinking during the movie that I want to find out what other things she's done because I didn't want to stop seeing her on screen. There's some cliches in her and in the script and in her character design, but nothing the way she says it and the nothing in the way that she does it, nothing feels cliche. She feels very authentic, and I love that. It's something that made the experience enjoyable. That by itself, and the movie definitely explores themes of feminism, and I think it does it in a good way. It's not like bashing you over the head with it, but it's not like so quiet about it either. It's loud and kind of direct in a way that I feel many people can appreciate. Um, I also thought that it had definite tie-ins to movies like Sinners and The Joker Part One and Two. Absolutely. Um, with the Joker, storyline wise, you have the two criminals bound together, chased by the law. The public perception of them is favorable to the point where people start, wearing their mask or putting on the makeup. There's the musical element. So that the tie-in with the Joker and the Bride were obvious. But then when I brought in Sinners to my thinking, because lately we are getting these movies that have some baseline of understanding or knowledge about a character you have going into the movie. Like, who Joker is, Harley Quinn, what a vampire is, who Frankenstein, or maybe that's not how you're supposed to say his name. I saw something that maybe it's pronounced totally different. But we're fed the baseline of character backstory before we even enter the cinema. And I think it can work. I think it works in this case. It worked in Sinners and it worked in The Joker, Part One. But I'm wondering how necessary it is. Wouldn't we be maybe a little bit better off if studios were welcoming to the idea that these screenwriters can bring original ideas, original stories with original characters. It doesn't just have to be an original story with the character they have under IP. You know, I think all of these movies will be equally, if not even better, equally good, if not better. Because I do like the stories. I enjoy them all. I thought they were all very good to great movies. You know, Joker 1, Sinners, and The Bride. I really enjoyed them. But I'm wondering if we're getting to a point where, if this movie doesn't do well, we're gonna we're just like proving to the studios, like, no, we need remakes. We need The Lion King Part 5. We need Toy Story Part 20. Don't get me wrong, I love Toy Story, but Toy Story was great because it was an original idea, original type of animation, great character. Do that again. Like, start over. Start from the beginning. I want something new. As a viewer, I want to meet new characters, fall in love with new stories. And I know that this movie is not perfect by any means. There's a lot of flaws. The pacing is a little bit wonky. Like the first half feels great, and then the second half get a little bit wavy. They start exploring something with a cop who I didn't care about at the beginning, and I didn't care about him at the end. But there's they wanted you to maybe care about him for a little bit, and then they discard him too. And I was like, all right, probably could have done without him. But I think it was a director's take. Like, it did feel like a director's genuine take on a character. And the character's not even really well known, right? Like, we don't know that much about the Bride of Frankenstein. Unless you're really into classic horror stories, it's not that familiar of a character. But we can all relate in a way to being treated the way that this character is treated. We can relate to being in the type of romantic situation that this character is a part of. Some of us can relate to being criminals, and I think that there's more things that we can relate to as humans with these characters than simply knowing who the character is before the movie begins. Overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I hope that people go to watch it. I'm telling you, Jessie Buckley's performance is off the charts. I love it. I really loved what she was doing with that role. I hope people watch it. I want more movies like this. I think that we're in right there on the edge of going full IP all the time, same old repeated nonsense. Or maybe because people are getting tired of the Marvel DC BS all the time refeeds, maybe we can pull back. Maybe we can show these studios, hey, we're willing to watch new characters. We just need the opportunity. And I feel like this is a step in that direction by a director who gave her best, by actors who gave their best. And Penelope Cruz is in the movie, that alone is sold. Anyway, wanted to give a few thoughts. My first time ever doing this, but go watch The Bride. I did, and I really enjoyed it. Peace.